Us?
No, we're really broadcasting from Moscow.
No wonder why I noticed the soldiers were dressed differently.
Yeah, but do you recall talking about that in the past?
I don't even recall my own name.
No, we discussed it in the past that they developed it so they could reroute everything to make it look like it's being done by the Russians, by the Americans, by anybody they want.
Well, they certainly, I mean, just like in a cell phone conversation, usually, if you're sending an email or something, it could go, or a text, it can go to different towers, okay, and you don't know where it originated from.
Well yeah, but they could follow them. The good hackers will actually route it so you'll never see where it originated, and they make it look like the USA said, did the actual.
Then how come on shows like 24 The Legacy, these computer analysts can figure out exactly where a message was sent from and track it down?
Because that was before.
No, that's television. It's Hollywood.
No, they were able to track before, but now they can still track, but sometimes they're fooled.
That's very true. But let me see. We touched on the Tomahawk cruise missiles. We touched on the mother of all bombs. Rex Tillerson happened to be in Russia. Now, I think it was CNN, although it might even be MSNBC, because I know they would probably show it before anybody, showed a trip that President Obama made in 2015, I believe, overseas. And Andrea Mitchell from NBC News was asking a question, and she was being ignored by whoever the official was that Obama was meeting with. And Obama turned to the official and said, well, you can't just ignore Andrea Mitchell. She happens to be one of America's foremost journalists, and she asked you a valid question. Compare that to what happened in Russia on Wednesday, I believe, when Rex Tillerson and his counterpart, and I forget the guy's name, too many Russian names to remember, they sat down at a table, okay, the press was out there, and one of the American reporters, because usually what happens is when they're in a room like that, the reporters raise their hands, somebody who's got guts would shout out and say their question. And the Russian ambassador or secretary of state said, who raised you? In other words, where you get your manners? And Rex Tillerson just smiled and looked down at his papers and said nothing. I mean, this is the way it's done in America. It may not be done that way in Russia, but somebody asks you a question, a legitimate question, you answer it.
You don't yell out.
No, that's what he was assuming. Don't yell out. But the bottom line is, this is what America has, we don't shut reporters up.
Of course we do.
No, Trump does. Trump did that. When somebody, way back at the very beginning of his campaign, somebody got up to ask him a question. He said, I didn't call on you, blah, blah, blah,
That's right. It is. That's the way it is. People are called on. That's the respect that everybody shows each other, and at the same time, he'll call on the person.
But Rex Tillerson wasn't calling on anybody. And the Russian Secretary of State or whatever, he doesn't know the American reporters.
It doesn't matter.
I got news for you.
If they're not asking, if they didn't open the floor yet for questions, then they shouldn't be yelling yet.
In America, the way it works, because nobody told anybody any different, is that once they all sit down, the questions begin. Okay?
No,
nobody said anything
I would say they'd have to wait and say, does anybody have any questions now? We'll take questions now.
Oh, come on, Rev. Felix,
Wouldn't you rather have it that way? Don't you think that's a more respectful way?
It might be more respectful, but I don't think a Russian official should denigrate and embarrass an American reporter by saying things like that. Who is he?
Well, who's a reporter to interrupt while they're talking?
They weren't talking. They had already sat down.
What does that mean, that they sat down? I mean, I don't know. I didn't see any of this.
It means that the press, the exchange between press and officials were to begin. That's what it usually is. But, I mean...
And Russia means they're going to have lunch now.
Come on, Felix. I mean, get serious.
Well, listen, Mark,
for him to say what
who got upset about this?
Everybody. Although what I was trying to show is that Tillerson did nothing. Obama, when it happened to Andrea Mitchell, called the official and said to him, you don't just ignore somebody when they ask you a legitimate question. Her hand was raised. Well, this woman's hand was raised too.
Do you know that? Did you see what happened?
I saw. They showed the clip. I'm not making it up.
Okay, well, I have to see.
They showed the clip on the news. And he just shot her down.
Did they answer any other questions yet?
No, that was all they showed. The fact they were showing the difference between how Obama handled a similar situation in 2015 and how Rex Tillerson handled that situation in Moscow, in Russia.
Well,
okay?
First thing is you have to see more. You have to see more of the clip.
But this is no, you don't. But this is the same Rex Tillerson who, when questioned, first of all, he has yet to have a news conference with American reporters, let alone Russian reporters. All right, he's been dodging the camera. All right, Andrea Mitchell tried to ask him questions a few times, and she's ushered out of the room. He's leaving. And he says 7 words to her. She said something about North Korea, and he said, I'll see you tomorrow. And then he said, first he said, no comment today, I will see you tomorrow, or something to that effect. 7 words. That's all. He's the Secretary of State.
Well, I've seen...
He's supposed to be informing the people.
I've seen him make speeches.
When?
Go on the internet and look up for speeches of his. I'm not saying
he has yet to take questions from American reporters. Yeah, he may make a speech or say something and then he leaves.
Well, how long did Hillary, while running for president?
Why does Hillary come up to this now?
I'm asking a question.
Hillary is not in the news.
Actually, she is now.
Yeah, but the bottom line is she's passé. She lost the election, and that's it. She has nothing to do with this now. But everybody wants to drag her back in.
I'm asking a question. It's not no dragging. People, I don't know what the proper etiquette is, but I would think before they start asking questions, somebody will say, I'm not going to take questions. I would think that's just going to be done. And then they start to... usually, it done that way.
Yeah, usually that's how they start a conference.
So but you don't know if they did that.
They didn't. Don't you understand? They showed them filing in. The reporters were there. They sat down. You would anticipate that questions could begin. And he embarrassed this reporter. Who raised you? Where you learn your manners?
Well, maybe in Russia there are certain protocol that you don't know about.
Yeah, they send you to the gulag. Or Putin tries to poison you like he does. Or they throw you out the window.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, don't you want to join this argument? Or this discussion?
We haven't given him our number in a long time.
Bantering.
That's what they pay to see. You and I at each other's throats.
Our phone number is 646-595-3275. Now, do you agree what Trump has done with the mother of all bombs and the tomahawk missiles?
I could understand why he did that, and I could understand why he bombed that Syrian airstrip. If for no other reason, then it shows our European allies that we mean business.
Yeah, and the reason.
I mean, I'll give him his props when he deserves it, you know. But Felix,
I'm
wait.
not done yet.
Neither am I. You're supposed to be sick, so shut up. You're supposed to be seen and not heard.
I'm walking out, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Mark, you're on for the next hour by yourself.
No. Well, I won't put on music, but I'll just end the show. No, all right, go ahead. No,
I think I've been off the microphone the whole time anyway. No, I've been on.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
No,
because I know I forgot what I wanted to say already.
I forgot what I was going to say also.
So let's start again.
Okay, the bombing, right? The missiles are okay. Now, what do you think of that? The mother of all bombs.
It was a real mother, let me tell you.
Yeah.
They said the ground shook 20 miles away.
And I think what they really, they said they had to do it in an area that's really desolate, so nobody else will get hurt.
No civilians.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't think they really knew the actual impact, because this bomb.
It was the first time.
Yeah, this bomb actually blows up in the air.
Well, I know that I do not feel embarrassed to say this because Trump said it many times on the campaign trail, but he said, I'm going to bomb the shit out of them.
Yeah.
I don't care.
He's right.
Well,
but anyway,
so that's exactly what he's doing.
But that's also...
How does he know one of the ISIS guys wasn't on the toilet at the time?
It's also signaled to China and especially North Korea.
Well, it was especially North Korea, and it wanted to let China know also that the bottom line is they mean what they say and that we are relying heavily on China.
Listen, you go in there...
Let me finish. Yeah. We're relying heavily on China to take care of North Korea.
But this shows that we go in there with 5-6 of these bombs where they have their nuclear stuff facilities, and they can do.
Yeah, but you know what the problem is? The problem is in North Korea we don't know whether they have civilians around there. The idea is not to bomb civilians.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, once you do that, that's, you know, I mean, then you don't even get the world opinion is against you. Not only China and Russia, but Germany and England and all of our allies, you know.
They may discuss with them first without us knowing.
Well, usually, I mean, let's go back to World War II. There have been rumors that FDR knew about, or in the works, there had been whispers about Japan wanting to bomb, I don't know, Pearl Harbor, okay, which was basically poo-pooed, and people say the reason for that was simply because Roosevelt was looking for a reason to get into the war, you know, and but then there's also, you know, a rumor that before the Enola Gay dropped the atomic bomb on Japan, on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, that word had gotten out to the Japanese ahead of time, but, you know, what can you do? You know, you can't evacuate a city when you give somebody, let's say, 30 minutes or an hour. It's impossible, you know? So I don't know what to say.
We killed a lot of civilians there. They were all civilians.
No, I know they were all... Well, Truman did it as a show of force because he wanted the war to be over. And I remember my dad saying many times they were already training for the invasion of Japan because... and my father said the percent that they were already expecting at least 50% casualties among the Allies and the Americans. My